And 3, 2, how's my hair?
Shitty.
Are you sure?
Appreciate
You know,
it.
Chad.
What?
You know what, Chad?
What?
Now that I see it online, you're right. Some of those posters don't look legit.
See? I'm not the only. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. You'll have to go back to your wooden desk in Mississippi. Welcome to Bonehead. My name's Joe Lewis. This is...
I have no idea who am I. I got a sore eye from your damn cat.
And we're the only two people on this show anymore.
Yeah. Except for the guy coming from the land of a million ones and one big zero.
What the hell is that?
The Matrix. Ones and zeros.
That was your joke?
I told you it wasn't funny.
Yeah, but you didn't tell me how...
I'm much more 13th floor guy.
No, you're
That's
Philip
too
K.
obscure.
Dick's worst nightmare is what you
All
are.
I heard was dick.
Would Virtuosity be better?
Well, it's directed by Brett Leonard, so no. All right, welcome to Bonehead.
We're sorry.
Is she rolling the credits now?
I don't know if she's rolling the
I've seen the credits.
She's giving us that look again of
go.
utter horror.
All right, so in this episode, we're going to be talking about...
Hanna-Barbera.
What? Hanna-Barbera?
One of the most amazing...
Say what you will about
I don't hear
Hanna-Barbera.
anything. Do you hear anything?
No.
It's like the buzzing of flies to Vigo.
Oh, it'd be great if we just had a million moths let off into your basement.
In my ass.
In your
You're going to say my ass? A million moths out of my ass?
Actually, it was going to come out attic, but it came out ass.
A million moths out of
Anyway,
my ass.
My point is, say what you will about Hanna-Barbera, but Miley Cyrus did okay.
That's your joke? You're a
Listen,
doctor
it's been a
now,
long
and that's
day.
your joke?
It's been a long day.
So, is that a penis or a cigar? You know what? This could work. Well, don't move away from the penis. Move into the penis.
No.
Come on, Hobo James.
Come on, James. Oh, now I'm a professor. I used to like these jokes, but now I don't find them funny. Are you drinking
Well,
your
it's
tea
just
with your
because
pinky
they're-
up, bitch?
You're
Are you
misogyny.
seriously in Mississippi
Not
and you're
well.
drinking a nasty soda from Kentucky?
Do they have that down there?
No, I import them.
Ha ha. I thought you were going to give it a Hitler.
God. Almost did.
You know, I'm trying to get tenure, so don't get me fired.
Why would they get you fired? Why would they even watch your show? Why would you tell them about them? Why would you put this on your curriculum vitae,
Well, I thought-
vita, voodoo?
I thought I might talk to people about it so we could get viewers.
so,
well, that was your first mistake. So back to
Alright, so,
Hanna-Barbera.
so 1920s James Thomas riding the trains.
I prayed.
You got any beans? There's a great episode of Alf with you riding the train.
So let's talk about Hanna-Barbera.
I was
Hanna-Barbera.
really praying
was,
I'm looking like a Monopoly guy.
You know, before we get into the history,
Yeah.
Hanna-Barbera is, if you don't know who Hanna-Barbera is, if you're one of our younger people, they were one of the most prolific producers of animation from the 50s to
From about 30 years.
yeah, from the 50s all the way to the almost early 90s.
Yeah.
Grand total, Hanna-Barbera produced 249 individual cartoon series, and that equals 1,200 hours of animation.
All right, just real quick. This is how prolific Hanna-Barbera was. During the 1970s, in a single year, Hanna-Barbera produced 2/3 of the Saturday morning cartoons on.
Right.
2/3, not a half, not 3/4, not 4/8.
Right.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
I can't do math.
Hobo James?
Well, what I was going to say is they also...
It's so funny. That's way better than your other joke.
By the way, the listeners
James,
of our show on SoundCloud, we highly encourage that you check out YouTube and see what James looks like.
yeah. So James left us for what was it again, James?
To become faculty, Joe. To
Faculty?
live my dream of being faculty.
I have seen that movie, and it is not that good.
No.
Are you with Elijah
Listen,
Wood?
you're just upset because me and John Stewart hang out now.
That's not true.
That isn't true at all.
Well, if I was part of that faculty, we would.
Yeah, but you'll never be even part of that faculty. Hold on, your PSC is being slowed down by
James Thomas.
faculty. There, we fixed it.
Okay, so.
All right.
So.
What I was going to say, though, not only were they prolific, they did win Oscars.
Yeah,
Yes,
they did.
They won Oscars. I believe they.
Thank you for adding that, Hobo James.
They won an Oscar before they were actually Hanna-Barbera Productions, if I'm not mistaken. So Hanna-Barbera started out in working for Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, otherwise known as MGM.
Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer.
Sorry, thank you.
You're welcome.
What did I say?
Meyer.
So anyway, they started out making Tom and Jerry theatrical shorts.
Actually, they met in 1939. They both met in MGM in 1939 working for the animation department. Yes, dead to us, James.
They were nominated before they ever won any Oscars. Do you know what they were first nominated for with Fred Quimby?
No, what?
A remake, actually, of a previous cartoon short. The original was called Peace on Earth. The remake was called Goodwill to Men. But if you've ever seen it, it's actually a pretty heavy animated short. It's animated. Two squirrels are talking to their grandfather about what happened. Oh my God, Chad, what are you doing? What happened to the people that they inherited the earth from? And it turns out that we wiped each other out through war, and then they're celebrating Christmas after we wiped ourselves out through war.
That's fascinating,
Wow.
dead to us, James. How did you get a cut on your face? And what is one eye blue?
Anyway,
He's not laughing. I think it's funny. All right.
Hanna-Barbera Productions was actually founded in 1957.
Yeah, which was with 2 months after MGM closed its animation department.
Yeah,
Did you see that?
Yeah, they completely.
So they were out of work.
Right, they were out of work. So in 1957, William Hanna and Joseph Barbera, which I don't even think we've said their whole names at this point,
Right.
left their jobs where they were making Tom and Jerry and started producing their own animation. Their first hit was actually a year later in 1958 with the Huckleberry Hound Show.
Absolutely. They also were responsible, and you were talking about being nominated, and actually with a lot of respect, people forget too, them Anchors Away with the dance sequence with Jerry and Gene Kelly. That was also them.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
So that's why they were still at MGM.
Oh, wow, I never knew that was...
Yeah, well, see, Tom and Jerry was actually started there. It actually wasn't called Tom and Jerry. It was called Puss Gets the Boot.
Huh.
I call that Sunday morning.
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to have that imagery. in my
Yeah,
head.
you don't want to see the boot.
What about you, Hobo Pirate James Thomas?
With the cut in your blue eye.
You should really give up smoking. Haven't you seen the Truth commercials?
Why do I do this again?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Actually, this is the only place I still get abuse. Maybe I do need it. What I was going to say is they kind of inherited, and you talked about how prolific they became, they kind of inherited a lot of Disney. I mean, they didn't inherit it, but they kind of replaced Disney as he grew older.
Yeah.
And as they were doing a lot of other stuff. I mean, they became the go-to in animation for a while.
Well, even though they were known for cheap animation, at one time they were the only animation people actually hiring in Hollywood. So actually, people from left Disney to go there because they were so prolific.
Right.
What were you going to say, Jen?
No, I was just going to go more into the Huckleberry Hound Show.
Absolutely, go ahead.
So the Huckleberry Hound Show, it actually introduced, of course, Huckleberry Hound. These three characters, James, I don't know if you know anything about them, Pixie and Dixie and Mr. Jinx.
Yes.
Thank you.
That was very yeah, I could tell.
Jeez.
Putting that
Have you
professorship
seen
to
it,
work.
seriously?
Did you talk yourself out this week, Muffin?
And
No, have you seen it? Well, I've been told by some of the people who watch the show I need to not talk, so I'm trying to honor that.
No.
but it also introduced a lesser known cartoon character known as Yogi Bear.
Absolutely, Yogi Bear would later get his own show. Right. Now, go ahead.
No, you bring up. Go ahead.
Well, in a couple of years, they had a huge hit. What was it?
The Flintstones.
The Flintstones. Now, what I think a lot of our audience probably doesn't know is the Flintstones came out in 1960. Now, you think of the Flintstones when you got home. If you're of a certain age, you watch it after you got home from school and it was on TBS or whatever.
Right.
And we'll get to Turner later. But with the Flintstones, that was the Simpsons of its day.
Right.
Okay? The Flintstones was on ABC and it was at nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, James.
It was so popular. So popular, the Honeymooners ripped it off.
Right. It was so popular, the Honeymooners. Jackie
It was
Gleason.
the animated version of the Honeymooners.
And it really is a ripped-off version of the
Yeah,
Honeymooners.
it's
That's
an
all it
obvious
is.
version of the Honeymooners.
And Hanna-Barbera were not only infamous for ripping other people off, they ripped their own damn selves off with every show.
yeah,
They
which
would-
we'll get into here.
We'll get into that in a minute.
In the Scooby-Doo era.
The Flintstones was extremely popular. Do you know mentioning the Honeymooners, do you know the backstory of that?
Of what?
Jackie Gleason almost sued them.
Yeah, I saw that.
He was going to sue them to get it off the air, but he literally, once it was so popular, he didn't want to be known as the man who got Fred Flintstone yanked off the air.
Yanked off the air.
Yeah, and something that's interesting about the Flintstones, I'm sure most of our viewers already know that it exists, but if you didn't know it exists, Hanna-Barbera actually produced a cigarette commercial for Winston cigarettes, if I'm not mistaken, featuring the Flintstones. If you don't know about it, go check it out.
Can you find that on YouTube?
It is on YouTube.
Oh, right.
It is traumatizing.
Well, I still grew up in the time when the Flintstones still did commercials.
Right.
Right? Like, Fruity Pebbles in our bowl. Ho, 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 here comes you know who.
Right.
I mean, that had to play on television for 20 years.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well, I was about to say, and that is also unique about the Flintstones. I mean, that was a serial. How many serials have there been launched linked to cartoons that last until the cartoon goes off the air, if that long, and then we never hear from them again? And
not
how
many.
long
Yeah,
has it been?
you're absolutely right. That and the vitamins, absolutely, because it probably can you still get Flintstones chewable vitamins?
They're gummies. I don't think you can get the actual chewable ones now.
Right.
They're gummies, yeah.
And those are still and where do you watch the Flintstones?
Exactly. Boomerang.
Boomerang
maybe.
is it? Maybe.
I think.
So the Flintstones lasted 6 seasons, and what's interesting that's the longest running primetime cartoon until another show came out later, and it was called Ghostbusters.
Family Dog.
It was
Quick,
The Simpsons. It was the longest
trivia.
running primetime till The Simpsons. What'd you say?
Quick, useless piece of trivia. Do you know what other primetime show that the Hanna-Barbera artists worked on during the same kind of time period?
They did the opening animation to Bewitched.
Yes, they did. That was what I was going to say. They did all the work for Bewitched.
Oh, I took it away from him. I took it away.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have asked. You should have said this is a rhetorical question, bitch. Sit there. Go back to smoking your cigar. Over a little bit to the left.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, you're up, James. Or Chad. I don't care.
No, James, what do you want?
What else did you want to say anything else about that? It's hard to read your body language because you keep smoking that cigar.
Yeah.
I got a problem.
Will you draw a frowny face because he don't look happy?
What I was going to say.
I can't tell who you are without emojis. Don't.
Speaking of ripping, what?
There's a little bit of blue who's still left. Okay, for our people listening, because we've just had some dead because of Chad is now removing the blue
It's okay, Haley.
expo that we got on Haley's laptop through the sinister cellophane.
By the way, thank you, Muppet Babies. That's where I got that idea.
That was from Muppet Babies?
There's a whole episode where they're watching TV and they put saran wrap on it and they draw on the pictures.
Why haven't we been doing this at our Halloween party while we've been...
I have no idea.
James! It kind of looks like the shot at the end of Psycho.
I know.
You do, dude. You straight up look like Norman Bates at the end of Psycho.
Go get
I'll
your
just
wig.
sit right here.
I
would
hate
never
to
even-
write out my... I'm getting the wrong words, man.
I would never
hurt
even hurt a fly.
I wouldn't
Never
even
hurt
hurt a fly. A fly. Although you don't look like the good one. You look like the remake.
So,
You look like Vince Vaughn.
You look a little more like Vince Vaughn than
Well,
Anthony
thank
Perkins.
you.
I know. I don't know that that's a compliment, but you take it,
Oh.
bitch.
well,
Hey, listen, Vince Vaughn's done okay for himself.
I loved Cell Block 99 or whatever.
they animated Laurel and Hardy, and they animated Abbott and Costello.
Yes.
So as far as keeping some classic acts alive, they did it through animation. Now, they were doing it as a cheap way to cash in, but that's something else that they did. By 1967, they had the Space Cadets, which I've never seen.
Which, you skipped the thing, in 1966, Hanna-Barbera was actually bought by Taft Broadcasting. So they were actually bought out by Taft Broadcast. So Hanna-Barbera was still on the payroll, providing creative input.
Yeah.
But by
And in 1966, they released their first theatrical film.
Which was what?
The Man Called Flintstone.
Are you sure?
Let's see.
I've got it. It was Hey There, It Was Yogi Bear was actually their first theatrical film.
It may be. It was 1966, so yes, I'm sorry. It was 64 with Yogi Bear.
Yeah, it's Hey There, It Was Yogi Bear was their first theatrical film, and actually wasn't the Flintstones. Now, they did do The Man Called Flintstone. You're absolutely right. It's a theatrical film later on.
Cash in on the spy interests of the day.
Of course, he's no McGilla Gorilla.
No.
So, by 1967, those Space Cadets, the Abbott and Costello cartoon show, Birdman and the Galaxy Trio, the Herculoids,
Yep.
Shazam, which I've never seen. They did the first Fantastic Four cartoon, which is probably better than all three theatrical films. Moby Dick and Mighty Mytor.
Yeah.
And Samson and Goliath, a.k.a. Young Samson.
And Space Ghost wasn't in that group?
Space Ghost would come out later with McGilla Gorilla, Johnny Quest, and Space Ghost come out in the same year.
Oh, okay.
And then later, I was actually rewatching South Park, watching the reruns the other day, and they had the Wacky Races episode of that, and it made me think of Wacky Races. And I didn't realize that Wacky Races actually is where Dastardly and Muttley started, and then they got their own spinoff.
I didn't know that. Oh, really?
Yeah, Wacky Races proved so successful that they spun off Perils of Penelope Pitstop and Dastardly and Muttley in their flying machines as their own spinoffs.
Huh.
So they started in Wacky Races. So I always thought it was the opposite way, and it was, oh my God, we've got these characters, they're not performing well, let's just sling them all into one show and make some money. No, actually, Wacky Races was stupidly successful for what they put into it.
Huh.
All right, so as we're moving through the 60s for Hanna-Barbera, they would, what's that thing over there on the couch? Now, for our people who are listening, Chad's going to reach me something. Oh, Chad, why did you give me your penis?
He sounded like he was having trouble lifting.
That would be their next iconic figure, that being of Scooby-Doo.
Your penis?
No.
That's no iconic figure. That's a space station. Anyway, this would be the next iconic figure. Launched in when? 1969. Scooby-Doo, where the hell are you?
And then, of course, that would be followed by several different variations of the same formula.
Of what?
So you not only did you have Scooby-Doo, you had my favorite, and we'll get into him later on, but Captain Caveman.
Captain Caveman!
Who's one of my personal favorites. Actually, I have two personal favorites in terms of Hanna-Barbera cartoons, that being Captain Caveman and Hong Kong Phooey.
He's quicker than the human eye.
But you got Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels. You have Jabberjaw.
Jabber Jaw.
You had, what was the speed buggy's name?
Speedy.
Who had his
I swear to God, that was his name.
They weren't very creative when it came to the names.
James, what was your speed bug name? Speed bug?
What?
Huh?
What?
You're killing the chemistry, James.
Yeah, Lord have mercy.
It's like you're not even here.
What I was going to say about before you all moved on from your Scooby-Doo and before
we're
you
still
started
talking about Scooby-Doo.
We're just talking about not only did Hanna-Barbera rip off other people, they ripped their own gore themselves off continuously.
Well, no, that's very much true because they had a thing. Once Scooby-Doo was a hit, they had Dynomutt, which was part of Blue Falcon and Dynomutt. They had Foofer later on near the end of their lifespan.
What's a Foofer?
What I wanted to say was, did you know where, and we'll see, you probably did the same research, so do you know where Scooby-Doo came from?
Yes, I do, but I'll let you go ahead and have this one.
Scooby-Doo, they basically realized the many loves of Dobie Gillis,
Yep.
which starred a certain Gilligan as Mr. Krebs,
Yeah.
who was a beatnik. And then they took the radio show I Love a Mystery, which was a weekly kind of mystery show, and they just said, both these things make money. What can we do with it? Let's put a hippie and a dog together, and no flawed mysteries. And then we need a clean-cut all-American couple. And then we need I don't know where Velma came from, but that's where Scooby-Doo. They took two
My
things that were popular
dreams.
at the time.
Yeah. She came from my dreams, James. Now, for our 2 episodes that we did about cars in television and movies, we were chastised somewhat, and we appreciate the feedback. We're not being sarcastic about the Mystery Machine, right?
Right.
Now, what was the Mystery Machine?
I would argue the problem with the Mystery Machine is it is a car.
It's
but
a
I
van.
think it's also, well, I mean, it's a vehicle. But I think the other side of that is we should have been chastised just as much for not including the Gadget Mobile. I mean, I think you could do an entire episode about animated vehicles.
Do you think so?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're gonna mess the computer up, Chad.
No, I'm not. Keep going.
No, keep going. We love it when you wax philosophically about waxing.
What?
Silence! Dead air! Dead air!
I'll stop talking. I get the point.
What?
Chad, all I see is your somewhat hairy knuckle. Why is that one hair red? You might need to get checked, Chad.
So, Mission Control. How you doing, Major Tom?
Oh,
It's funny because his last name's Thomas.
Tom, yeah. James Thomas has left. So let's talk about Scooby-Doo since he doesn't want to talk.
So anyway, back to Scooby-Doo. I think if you're of a certain age,
yeah.
Scooby-Doo's fairly iconic.
Right.
Scooby-Doo's probably fairly iconic even now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you didn't watch it from the original get-go, then you watched it in reruns, and then you watched the pup. Did you go get pizza?
You know they had pizza in space.
No. Somebody's being a little of a diva with his fancy pizza
Yeah.
and his helmet. Oh, look, I got oxygen. Don't you all suffocate, bitches. I was sitting here in my TV talkie.
Hold on. How does the pizza get through the helmet? That's the question.
Yeah, probably through your mind. Anyway, back to my damn
So
dog.
get to Scooby-Doo.
What was I talking about?
You were talking about a being like...
We were talking about bids.
Yeah. Go.
About a beatnik? Oh, anyway, so if you didn't have that, then you had the hour-long mystery movies where they were mashups.
Right.
They met Batman, they met the Globetrotters.
Which is a formula they now are repeating here in the modern time where they meet WWE wrestlers.
What'd you say? Go back to what you were saying.
No, it just seems they've actually gone full circle.
Do they do that now in the new?
Yeah, they do feature-length features where they meet WWE wrestlers or kiss.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
man. Kiss. All right, so,
No,
and then Jonathan Winters.
My kids love Scooby-Doo Meets Kiss that came out, I think, last year or the year before on direct-to-DVD. They love it. See, Joe, Kiss has phenomenal powers, but only Shaggy and Scooby see him use them.
Okay.
And they have to get back the heart of the universe, which was given to them by higher powers in Detroit. And the heart of the universe is a stone. So, see, it's a Detroit rock city.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I get it. Draw a dick in his mouth quick. Why'd you put a fish?
Because he's underwater.
Why wasn't he in space? I thought that was a space helmet.
This was a twist.
This is a twist. I didn't see diving helmet coming. Holy cow. Can you believe it? This week on episode of Bonehead. Anyway, here's something else I found. So let's move on from Scooby-Doo. We can go on to the toughest stuff. Here's what. Did you all know that they did Charlotte's Web?
No, I did not know.
They're the one that produced Charlotte's Web. There's a lot of stuff for Paramount.
Wow.
Because they were doing so much animation, they did a lot more. So you think of, oh, blah, 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 blah. but was made by Hanna-Barbera. Most American animation was at the time, specifically in the 70s, made by Hanna-Barbera, not Disney. Now, to keep with tighter budgets, Hanna-Barbera modified the concept of limited animation. Do you guys know what that is?
Is that where they recycles the image over and over again?
How did you know that?
So the Flintstones could run in the same one-bedroom house over and over again for 15 minutes nonstop?
Right. Character designs were simplified, and backgrounds and animation cycles, walks, runs, and etc. were regularly repurposed. Did you guys know this?
What?
What I just said.
Yes, we knew that. I don't know if our audience
Do you
did.
know even more? Characters were often broke up into a handful of levels so that only parts of the body that needed to be moved at a given time, mouth, arm, or head, would be animated.
Yes.
You know, they did it even more when they did Coast to Coast.
And they basically invented the form of cheap animation.
Yeah. Their competition was one other company I can't remember, and Filmation. Absolutely.
Yep.
So they went through the 70s. They were really, really popular. Do you have anything else to add to that, James? I mean,
what I was going to say, and we mentioned this some, but I wanted to throw this out. You mentioned that they rip themselves off all the time. One of their other characters that was, yes, Chad, we see you.
Is that a heart or a butt?
It was supposed to be a shark, but I can't draw for squat.
Or shit.
Yeah.
It looks like a puppet for the Loch Ness Monster. But you're saying something there, James?
Go ahead, James.
One of the shows that followed Scooby-Doo was Goober and the Ghost Chasers.
Goober and the Ghost Chasers? Did it start the Goober?
Goober was an Afghan hound. He loved Afghans. I
haven't thought much of them.
They have a apparition kit that helps them actually find ghosts, and the ghosts are real in Goober. It ran for technically one season, but they made enough of them it covered 2 years. Used some of the same cast, but yes, it was. They realized, a dog that finds ghosts is successful. Let's make that aren't real. Let's make one where they actually do. I mentioned the Funky Phantom before, but I wanted to throw.
Was he
some
really
of these
that
things
funky?
out.
No, yes, but he wasn't that much of a phantom. Oddly enough.
Oddly enough, ghosts have BO. Nobody knew that.
They stank.
We mentioned that they ripped off a bunch of stuff and they ripped themselves off.
Yeah.
I wanted to go through this a little bit because they had a ton of things where they literally went, "Oh, this is popular. Let's just, this show from the 50s is popular, or 60s. Let's animate it." So they did do "Wait Till Your Father Gets Home," the animated series. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kids.
Woo!
They were the ones behind Super Friends, the Addams Family, Partridge Family 2200 AD.
Is that where they fight to the death over gasoline?
Let's see. And then what Wacky Races was such a big hit, they started doing stuff like the Laugh Olympics, the Galaxy Goof Ups, Yogi's Space Race, bunch of other ones. The one thing I do want to point out is they sorry, I had it and lost it. Oh,
That padded room you're in is really messing up your speech patterns.
He wouldn't even hurt a fly.
I hate you guys. Godzilla. They were the first one to do an anime Godzilla show. Finally, the other thing, though, was that they were, you all did not mention yet, what was arguably one of their finest animated peaks, and that would, of course, be Grape Ape.
Grape Ape.
Grape Ape. We have a song for Grape Ape.
James, you want to sing it? Go.
No,
let's go. Let's ruin that tenure.
I was just about to make the same joke, James. You never wanted to be tenured, right? How many pieces of pizza did you take from that homeless family? Did you say you got that for free?
Yeah.
Okay, well, just keep on eating the pizza, I guess. Anyway.
Faculty.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means either. I had cheap-ass pizza for free tonight, too. I don't know. Anyway, the highly successful 80s came through, and then they hit upon something called the what? Do you know what it is? It was the longest-running one of its kind.
No.
The Smurfs.
Oh, the Smurfs.
Yes, the Smurfs. Based on the comic created by Belgian cartoonist Pierre Couder, also known as Peo, and centering on a gang of little blue bastards and one little Miss Muffet blue bastard Smurf.
Yes, and they were originally green.
Were they really?
They were supposed to originally be green.
Were they green in the comic?
No, he went and changed them blue, but when in his original draft, they were green.
Really?
Yes.
And it aired on NBC for 9 seasons. It was the longest running Saturday morning cartoon series in TV history.
I did not know it ran that long.
9 seasons. Can you believe that? In 8 years and the highest for an NBC show since 1970. It was a smash hit. It was their top rated program, actually.
Wow.
Now, that was their Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
Not something else on at night. Their top-rated program was the Smurfs.
Right.
All Hanna-Barbera. In 82, we got the Gary Coleman Show. We got Shirt Tales.
Which, let's talk about the Gary Coleman Show.
I have never seen
how messed up the Gary Coleman Show is. So, James, do you know the story behind the Gary Coleman Show?
No.
So, okay.
Thanks, James. Keep on eating. I'm glad you could join us tonight. It was a real pleasure. I'm glad you could bring the whole gestalt of James with you. Just keep on laughing.
So, for those of you who may not know who Gary Coleman was, I guess.
Like Haley behind the camera.
Do you know
Why
who
is
Gary
he
Coleman?
flicking the camera?
Haley, do you know who Gary Coleman was?
Yes.
Thank you. So, Gary Coleman starred.
He did not invent the lantern.
He was a star of Different Strokes.
Which was not about a health condition.
No. He was a huge child actor at the time, and of course Hanna-Barbera wanted to cash in on his popularity.
Right.
So what do? They create a show called The Gary Coleman Show, which is about a little boy who died and is in heaven.
Oh, good Lord.
And he comes down from heaven to help little kids who are in trouble.
How did he die?
They never covered it. But he's in heaven, and they send him down with wings to help little kids.
Not to bring up Del Toro, you ever seen The Devil's Backbone? You know, that kid's got the ectoplasm coming out of that hole in his head?
Yeah, not that.
Something like that?
Yeah, not that dark.
Damn.
He's literally just a cherub little boy who comes down from heaven to help these kids out.
And he's dead.
And he's dead.
But, I mean, they made a lot of weird shows.
Oh, yeah.
Because they also did an animated Laverne and Shirley in the Army. Now, if you're familiar with Laverne and Shirley,
yeah,
compared to today, it's nothing too extreme. But it wasn't exactly a show that you'd be like, oh, put the 4-year-old in front of that.
Well, they also did the animated Gilligan's Island, right?
And the animated Fonz one.
So basically, every time there was an iconic character on television, Hanna-Barbera snatched up those rights to make an animated version of them.
Yeah.
That would include the Dukes, which was the animated Dukes of Hazzard, where they had to travel around the world. It would also include, of course, the Monchichis, and of course, Monchichis mean happiness.
Really?
Look it up.
What is Chi-Chi?
I'm going to get the saran wrap out again.
Isn't Chi-Chi's Tatas?
No, you never saw the Monchichis?
I've
never seen the Monchichis. I've never experienced happiness, James. Thank you for pointing it out.
I believe Joe actually brought it up in our 80s cartoons episode. One of you all did, because they've got...
Well,
I did not bring up. I've never seen
monkey-like
Monchichis.
creatures that look like monkeys and hedgehogs got genetically engineered together.
So it was an accident in God's eyes. Sort of like Phil Spillman's dog. It didn't have a soul.
But
if
they
Phil
live
made
in
it to
the
this
clouds.
point, he just laughed out loud. Your dog doesn't have a soul, Phil. It was never meant to... Oh my God, that's... I don't know if it's worse.
They live in the clouds, and their leader is called Wizar.
Wizar!
Who is a wizard.
I didn't see that coming.
And they have to fight the evil Grumplins.
I get the Grumplins every Monday.
Guess where the Grumplins came from, Joe?
My poop hole.
No, the Grumplord.
Oh.
The Grumplins were from Grumplore.
Yeah. You're not from Grump Lord. All right, so that same year they had Shirt Tales, which is a huge favorite, Pac-Man, The Little Rascals, and the Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo Puppy Hour.
Oof.
Oh, God, I hate Scrappy-Doo.
What year are we in?
I was 1982.
Because you skipped 1980 where we had the Flintstones Comedy Hour.
I skipped a bunch of shit because
Yeah.
we'll be here for 3 weeks if we go over all of it.
The reason why the Flintstones Comedy Hour is so important...
Hey, Riri Chad.
That's you, James.
He put his face over yours. I wouldn't hurt a fly. That's all I see is I wouldn't hurt a fly. I wish I'd never made the joke now.
I know. So the Flintstones Comedy Hour, the reason why the Flintstones Comedy Hour is important to me is
Why?
that's where we got the Captain Caveman that I know and love.
What?
Yeah, because the Captain Caveman was originally a ripoff of Scooby-Doo. It was called Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels. Literally, it was the Teen Angels riding around in a van with a giant cave on the roof that Captain Caveman lived in, and he would come out and help them solve a big mystery of somebody dressed up in a costume trying to scare people away from the local park.
Teen
Sound familiar?
Angel.
Yeah.
Teen Angel.
And do you know who voiced Captain Caveman?
Scatman Crothers.
No, that's Hong Kong Phooey.
I know, I just want to say Catman's name.
I know who voiced him.
Go ahead.
Michael Douglas.
Mel Blanc.
Kirk Douglas.
The amazing Mel Blanc was
I'm sticking with Michelle Douglas.
was the voice of Captain Caveman.
Was it any of the Douglas family?
But no, but back before we to go back just a little bit, the Flintstones Comedy Hour also featured. It was an hour-long variety show that featured Captain Caveman, a grown-up Pebbles and Bam Bam in their rock band.
Oh, God. I remember that.
Yeah. They would do another regular Flintstones for show cartoon, and then also Mr. T for some reason.
So Mr. T, I thought, had his own show.
He had his own special, but he eventually had his own show, but he started out as a segment on the Flintstones.
I did not know that.
So anyway, back to 1982.
Well, I just thought that was interesting of all the stuff, and then I just kind of skipped around to 85, and then there's Johnny. There was Pound Puppies, the Flintstone Kids, Sky Commanders, Popeye and Son came out in 86. The Greatest Adventure Stories from the Bible, I don't remember that. Do you guys remember Yogi's Treasure Hunt?
No.
Vaguely, they ran around the world looking for treasure.
I don't
right?
remember it. I know the Pawpaws, and that was my wife likes the Pawpaws. The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. James, you went over that pretty much in detail. That came out in 1985.
Yep.
So their problem is Hanna-Barbera, after having so much success for so long, they had the same problem everyone else did in the late 80s. Do you guys know what that was?
Afternoon syndication.
Afternoon syndication. Saturday morning cartoons weren't what they used to be.
No.
Right.
But
and late
they
80s
still
started
had
to
a
bring
couple-
bad times. What?
They still had a couple things that still have odd cult followings. 1987, Rick Moranis provided his own voice for Gravedale High, cashing in a little bit on the Ghostbusters trait. But he basically was a teacher that had to teach all the monsters.
Which is actually a pretty interesting cartoon. I enjoyed it.
I've never seen it.
Yeah. Well, and it's I still remember the theme song, so it actually stuck with me.
Sing it, bitch.
What?
Sing it.
Sing it.
Gravedale High, please take a seat now. We're dying. Please take a seat now. We're dying to meet you. Yeah, I could go on.
You're
but I might
bombing.
want to.
Isn't it? You're not really selling it.
I'm sorry. If you all would perform the backup song, so I'd had something to sing along with.
Woo, woo,
That's no.
Oh my God, we're all dead.
Holy
That's
crap,
terrible.
there's the werewolf. Kick him in the door.
This-
Frankenstein's monster. It's not Frankenstein. People get that all mixed up all the time. I hate dumbasses.
Y'all singing this is why Rick Moranis is dead.
He's
Rick
not
Moranis
dead.
isn't dead. In fact, I saw he's going to be
Oh,
at a
really?
con.
Show him to
Oh,
me.
really?
Yeah,
Wow.
What now?
he's going to be at a con.
Oh,
Can
really?
we go?
Well, you can if you got money.
Where's it at?
I forgot. That's the reason I didn't sell it.
Fascinating conversation.
Well,
Let's
it
get
would
back
be
to
even more
Hanna-Barbera.
fascinating. And when that con gives me an exclusive rights, I'll put them on the show.
So they
All
ran
right.
into hard times because of afternoon syndication.
Afternoon syndication was kind of killing them, and then we come in the early '90s, and then we have all these other things. What? There's Tiny Toons. What other competition is there? There's hundreds of things.
Well, there's all the Disney afternoon DuckTales and all that stuff that was.
So
in the
Disney's
afternoon.
made a comeback after Hanna-Barbera screwing them for almost 20 years.
But the other part about it is Hanna-Barbera tried to switch up their game by having ongoing story shows.
Right.
But they also did the Pirates of Dark Water.
Right,
Yeah.
Pirates of Dark Water, SWAT Cats, which is a personal favorite of mine.
I prefer the Pirates of Dark Water. But go ahead.
I like Pirates of Dark Water as well. If I could say Dark Water.
The Young Robin Hood, which actually they did in collaboration with a Canadian animation company.
Young Robin Hood, yeah, with Sonar. Yeah, and Yo Yogi. It all came out in 1991. Well, Yo Yogi's, actually, I was looking at Wikipedia, and I got a lot of this stuff from Wikipedia. It's cited as maybe one of the worst cartoons of all time. I've never heard of it.
I heard of it, but I don't remember anything about it.
That was the time when they were trying to cash in on Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. So you just add street language, quote unquote. So see, it was Yogi, and that was a bad call.
So, cut to 1991, right?
Yeah.
So 1991, they were bought by Turner Broadcasting System to use their own the content, their catalog of cartoons that they previously had, to build a new network that they were creating called Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network. So from that point on, they did start making some new cartoons. Now, you would have been bombarded with the old cartoons, but the last new cartoons have been Dexter's Lab.
Right.
There's a few others.
Powerpuff Girls.
Well, I was going to say the Powerpuff Girls was the last cartoon. The final new series from Hanna-Barbera
they also did Johnny Bravo. Sorry.
would have been 1998, and that would have been the Powerpuff Girls.
Right.
William Hanna died in March of 2001 of throat cancer. Or is it William Hanna? Or is Joseph Barbera died in 2006 of natural causes. And Warner Brothers controls it all. Now, you're like, well, how did Warner Brothers end up with that? What you got to remember was Turner was its own thing. Mm-hmm. Turner and eventually got bought out by Time Warner. Warner owns Warner Brothers, and there was a whole deal with AOL and all this about 20 years ago. If anybody remembers, they're old enough.
Yeah, and then basically Hanna-Barbera got absorbed into Warner Brothers Animation, where they continue to build like I said, like Scooby-Doo. Mm-hmm. They continue to make Scooby-Doo movies for Cartoon Network like crazy.
Right, but it's all owned by Turner, and there's a back catalog, and they basically if you watch Boomerang is Hanna-Barbera.
Right.
Right? Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So I do want to bring up one more little, before we continue on this conversation, one interesting fact about Warner Brothers Animation. There is a secret hit from back in Hanna-Barbera's heyday.
GB Christmas. He came in close.
That is currently huge.
What is it? Is he
Top Cat.
Why is Top Cat currently huge?
Top Cat is huge in Mexico.
Still.
Because when they
heard this.
Yeah, when they redubbed it for Mexican television, I forget the actor's name, but he's basically the Mexican Mel Blanc, and that caused that show to skyrocket. Top Cat is only 30 episodes long. They only made 30 episodes of Top Cat.
A lot of them are not even that.
Yeah,
I bet there's not more than 30 episodes of Jabberjaws.
Maybe not, but they just kept recycling them over and over again because they could just dish out the money and keep getting it. But Top Cat, last year, Warner Brothers wanted to cash in on the popularity of Top Cat in Mexico because he is still popular in Mexico to this day. They quickly spat out a Top Cat full-length motion picture, animated motion picture. And they did it. It only aired in Central and South America. Uh-huh. It is getting critically panned. It's awful. The animation's really cheap, and there's actually even a joke about prison rape in the cartoon. It is.
Evidently, Jerry wants to see it.
Well, I do kind of want to see it now.
Yeah, it's called El Gato in Mexico. It still holds the record for the highest box office ever in Mexico history.
The Top Cat one.
The Top Cat animated movie, and it is immediately getting a sequel, which is currently in production. So,
which actually
So essentially, Top Cat for Mexico is what the Transformer movies are for America. That's the best. When I read this, that's the first comparison that came to mind, because Transformers, awful movies, continue to make an obscene amount of money.
Obscene, yeah, absolutely.
Well, what I was going to say, though, is it's funny because you mentioned that, but I mean, what is left where they've been bought out and all that stuff? But Hanna-Barbera, quote unquote, as a entity, whoever absorbed it now, they do have the new Wacky Races show,
which is
that's
computer
on
animated.
Boomerang Streaming. But then they've announced 2 more. They've got in 2019 they'll be releasing Yabba Dabba Dinosaurs. I'm not making that up. And Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, which is going back to the weekly guest. And listen to some of the people that have already signed on and agreed to do Scooby-Doo Guess Who.
I hope you say Nicki Minaj.
Well, it's going to have the same voice cast. So Matthew Lillard is Shaggy, Frank Welker, Scooby-Doo, and Fred Jones, blah, blah, blah. But some of the guest stars so far, Kevin Conroy will be on as Batman.
Huh.
So they're going to do another Scooby-Doo meets Batman. Ricky Gervais is going to be himself. Mark Hamill will be himself. I'm hoping this is a team-up episode. They're going to meet Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Jaleel White is going to reprise the Steve Urkel. So we're going to finally get Joe's dream of Scooby-Doo meets Steve Urkel.
Oh, I've been dreaming. I've been hoping. I've been praying.
But you mentioned this, Joe.
You're still hoping out for
Chad,
that Family Matters revival show.
Oh, my God. Please let it happen.
You mentioned this, Chad, so I will let you know. Halsey
Okay.
will be meeting, but also Saya will be on an
Is that the
episode
lady
where
she never shows her face?
Yes. Do you
Yeah,
think
see,
she'll be
I'm with it, America.
You think she'll be the monster? Like
I
they'll have
actually
to take
knew
her
that, too.
mask off?
I can't tell you one song she's done.
So I just think it's funny. Chris Paul is going to do one as well. But the fact that all these things that were old again, and it kind of goes back to that, because I'll be honest, my kids, like I said, love Scooby-Doo meets Kiss, and I'll watch it, and I'm like, it's the same thing for them as Scooby-Doo meets the Harlem Globetrotters was for me. It was just, okay, they're going to play basketball and solve these crimes.
On this
Cool.
special episode of Scooby, here's Jonathan Winters doing different voices.
Yeah,
I
which
was
we
gonna
never
say,
even talked about Hanna-Barbera's version of the Harlem Globetrotters, where each one of them had a superpower.
We also didn't really talk about Super Friends.
No, we didn't.
No.
They did Super Friends.
But
And
They did several different
and
variations.
Pound Puppies.
Yeah, we talked about. Yeah. Woof.
I don't remember it. Christy wrote down one CBS Story Break. I don't remember that
I
one.
don't know what that is.
Oh, what was it?
CBS Story Break.
I don't remember that one. I remember the CD Bears, which were these bears that live in the country.
No.
And
I mean,
they
Paw
have-
Paw, Snorks, Shirt Tail, Smurfs. I mean, some of these you just like reading off in 80s
yeah,
Saturday
which
morning.
Snorks, again, Snorks was
A rip-
Smurfs underwater.
Underwater Smurfs.
Yeah.
Yeah. They ripped off a lot of people and themselves.
But I mean, and currently we have 3 Smurf movies.
But
I don't know if we're going to have a 4th one.
I need to make an argument. I'm sitting here looking over this list, and I think that Turner may be the best thing that ever happened to them, specifically with creative, because I think Dexter's Laboratory and Powerpuff Girls are probably far superior to most of the things that they made.
I don't argue that at all.
What do you all think?
Oh yeah. But and you got to think about though. I mean, could write an entire mystery about what happened to all the characters they created that never went anywhere. The 3 robotic Stooges. That was, of course, where the Stooges all got robotic parts and solved mysteries.
Why
Why
do we
don't we
always
ever
have to
hear
solve
about that?
mysteries?
Again, it was just them stealing the same formula over and over again.
I know, but
Another reason why I think I liked Hong Kong Phooey, because he really wasn't solving mysteries. He was just a crime-fighting...
and he was voiced by Scatman
Man
Crothers.
Crothers.
What else do you need other than the Scatman?
Scatman.
Nakatomi.
I was going to say
You
who
were
also
gonna
worked
shit
for
say.
Disney.
Hold on, I got to pour one for my dead homie.
That's done
Is
for
that
the rest of
empty?
the-
He found one of your
Well,
Diet
we-
Mountain Dews you hid.
Yeah, you put it in the freezer, James.
okay.
I drank it.
He
All right,
has the
then.
Diet Mountain Dew, but he doesn't have you.
No. I drink it for your
Um,
essence.
What I was going to say, Joe, I mentioned the CB Bears, is that they not only did half-hour shows, they actually did hour-long animation, which also made them unique.
Yeah.
Because the CB Bears were hour-long episodes. And if you're interested in the CB Bears, they were, of course, 3 bears that went undercover as garbage collectors to solve crimes.
I was
So
hoping
what
they were
is the
gonna be-
CB Bears? What does CB stand for?
I thought they were going to be long-haul truckers.
Oh, that's exactly what I thought they were.
Oh, that's where you're wrong, or that's where you're right. See, they went undercover as trash collectors because that gave them access to a CB, and they called their trash truck the perfume wagon, which at the time was CB slang for a garbage truck.
Every nerdy kid who didn't have a life in the early 80s had a CB radio. Why did they have to go this elaborate route of having a garbage truck?
Oh, it gets better.
The 70s
To
really
cash
did.
in on all the
70s.
phrases or all the things that were hot at the time, each of them had a name that was inspired by a disco dance that was popular at the time. So you had let me give you some of them, and the female one had looked like Farrah Fawcett.
Oh, Farrah
but
Fawcett Bear.
The names were one's name was Hustle, the other one was named the Bump, third one was the Boogie. There were Skids and Crazy Legs, and they're going to solve these mysteries with this CB radio.
We call Jad Skids, but for it's a totally different reason.
Yeah. Now sometimes they had to solve mysteries involving blast off.
You'd be wearing it as a hat if it wasn't Haley's laptop and I respected her.
All right. So I'm told we need to wrap it up. This is our first episode with James dead.
Yeah.
It's like he
This
wasn't even
electronic
here.
Ouija board works like a champ.
It's like he wasn't even here.
I know.
But I still have my Scooby that was a gift to me in college.
That James gave
Not
you?
for me.
No, he didn't give it to me.
Yep. James just gave you a VD.
James gave me VD. Vivacious Designs. Vicious Dysentery.
I would have said vehicular dysentery, but that was just me.
Vicious Dysentery?
Vehicular.
Why would it be vehicular?
Because he's always
it's got
going off on
wheels
your
on
bumper.
All right. Thank you so much. Tune in to Bonehead next week where we'll see how this plays out.
What plays out?
This show.
I'm pretty sure it's a failure.
I'm
This is
pretty
our
sure
last
this is
episode.
yeah, it was good seeing you all.
Yeah.
We went down the tubes. James left us. I'm going to shove this through Chad's eye and make myself feel better.
I'm going to go make some shrinky dinks.
Ooh.
Shrinky dinks.
Dinks. You want to make some shrinky dinks, dead James?
Go put your head in the oven.
How many pieces of pizza do you
Oh
have?
my God.
Did you steal a whole pizza from a freshman?
No.
Pre-fresh. PCU, baby.
All right. Tune in to SoundCloud, tune into iTunes and YouTube. Rate us on all these things, share us, and have your friends subscribe. This is Bonehead, and this has been Hanna-Barbera. Toodles.
This has been a Film Waste television production.